Nearly 2 million Gazans have nowhere to call home. Israeli evacuation orders, airstrikes, and a worsening humanitarian crisis have forced them to flee in order to stay alive. The UN says a safe passage is urgently needed. But how is this possible while Israel continues to bombard Gaza? Hello and welcome to Roundtable. I'm Enda Brady. Now, displacement is now a daily reality across Gaza. Around 400,000 Palestinians have fled famine-stricken Gaza City since Israel launched a major offensive aimed at occupying the Strip. With global aid blocked and homes destroyed, where will these people find safety?
Constantly on the move, the people of Gaza are forced to flee time and time again, searching for safety amidst the ruins of war. Driven by relentless Israeli airstrikes, evacuation orders, and the desperate search for food, water and shelter. The United Nations says 1.9 million people, about 90% of the population, have been displaced since the conflicts began.
We left while the bombing was over our heads and we left everything in our homes. Our homes were destroyed, our children were martyred.
I was displaced about 11 times. 7 times were in the north. After we left the north, I was displaced to Khan Yunis, then to Rafah, then to Al-Mawazi, Rafah, and then to Nusrat.
Some families have travelled to the north and south of Gaza and back again.
Families are talking about the absolute nightmare that they're enduring on this journey. Children walking hours without shoes, mothers trying to protect children from getting lost or hurt in the chaos of this journey.
They also face a deepening humanitarian crisis of blocked aid, famine and the destruction of hospitals. According to the UN, more than 86% of Gaza's land is now under Israeli evacuation orders, leaving families with fewer places to seek safety. And still, Israel continues to bombard Gaza, killing civilians trying to flee in their vehicles and even in shelters. Amid the devastation, Trump has announced a 20-point Gaza peace plan, but many say it offers almost no protection for Palestinians.
Yes, the war must stop, but not at any price, not at the expense of Palestinian rights, not at the cost of Palestinian blood.
It's all in Israel's interest. The other thing is that they want to kill us, they want to destroy us, they want to scatter us, they want to displace us.
While leaders abroad debate about how peace can be achieved, inside Gaza, survival is the only plan.
Well, let's meet our guests. Joining us from Deir al-Balah in Gaza itself, we have Eyad Amawi, representative of the Gaza Relief Committee and coordinator for local NGOs. In Paris, we have Lara Elborno. She's an international lawyer and human rights activist. And in Amman, in Jordan, Shaina Low. Shaina is a communications advisor for the Norwegian Refugee Council. And I'm delighted to say here with me in the studio, we have the journalist Yousef Alhelou. Well, let's go straight to Gaza and to Eyad. Eyad, the whole issue of displacement, stay or leave, both options are deadly. I can't imagine the horror of what your friends and your family and your colleagues are having to choose right now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your hosting me again and again, Roundtable. This is a great program that reflects the reality over the ground here in Gaza. My colleague, thank you so much again. What's happening now in Gaza City, especially in the center of the town, they force people to be displaced for more than 30 days by using explosive robotics and indiscriminate bombardments with a huge power. Look, the bombardment they still using up to this moment. We hear the sound from the south very clear, very clear. So there is no choice for our people. The people who left Gaza City under the fire, escaping under the fire, is horrible scenes. I know from my testimonies, a lot of my cases, They walked more than 15 up to 20 kilometers to achieve the south. And when they reach the south, there is no free space, there is no guarantee shelters, there is no any special needs. Look, when they grant to those people just 3 up to 5 minutes to evacuate their apartments in the towers in the Gaza City, they haven't ability to take anything from with themselves. Something like special needs, clothes, waters, the meanings they need to expel people under the fire. So the situation is worsening more and more, especially in the south, because we now have a huge thousand of people crowded in the street. There is no really free space to meet their needs, and also the shortage and the lack of tents, also the shelters. We sending more than human appeals to all of the international community to provide those displacement people with their needs, but up to this time, there is no real response that can meet the thousands and thousands of people.
Thank you, Eyad.
So, yes.
I want to bring Lara Elborno in at this point. Lara, 5 minutes to pack up your life and move everything and go somewhere where there's no place for you. This is displacement being used as a weapon of war.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, we've spoken about the legal qualifications of Israel's ongoing forcible transfer of the Palestinian people for the last 2 years. It's formed actually a key feature of Israel's genocide. Most Palestinians have been displaced dozens of times in the last 2 years, while at the same time being starved and bombed in their homes and also in the safe areas if they choose to leave. And this continues principally because of Israel's impunity for its international crimes. So I think we need to ask ourselves, who amongst us would accept to be herded like cattle by an illegally occupying army for years, knowing that there is no safe place to go? Is there not a limit to what the human being can endure?
Thank you, Lara. Let's bring Shaina in. Shaina, your organisation, the Norwegian Refugee Council, does extraordinary work. How frustrating is it that so much of the aid and the help and the goodwill from other countries and the millions and millions of decent people who want to help is being blocked? Displaced people just can't get that help.
It's so incredibly frustrating speaking here from Amman and speaking on behalf of our teams in Gaza who, like Eyad, like other ordinary civilians in Gaza, have faced displacement and horrors over the last 2 years. All that they want to do is go out and support their neighbors and continue to help. And yet our hands are tied because of Israeli restrictions, because of the inability to get in aid. We have hundreds of truckloads of aid waiting to enter Gaza that keeps on getting rejected by the Israelis for no other reason other than they're saying that we aren't, quote, authorized, or we aren't authorized to bring in aid at this time. Eyad spoke about the desperate shelter needs for all of these displaced people. NRC leads the shelter cluster, which coordinates amongst shelter partners to help provide shelter relief for people as part of the response and part of the UN system. I just checked right as we were speaking, and about 11,000 tents have entered Gaza through the UN system in the last month. These tents only last about 5 to 6 months because of the harsh weather conditions in Gaza. And so even the tents that were distributed during the ceasefire and the materials during the ceasefire have deteriorated at this point.
Thank you, Shaina. Yousef, to you, you are from Gaza. You have family still in Gaza. Did you ever think you would see the day when the people of Gaza City, for example, the relentless displacement of the Palestinian people and the mental impact, the danger, did you ever think you would see a day what we've been seeing for so long?
Not in our dreams. I can't believe that we are sitting here for 2 years now to talk about a genocide. The people of Gaza are facing the worst living conditions on earth, not as a direct result of a natural disaster or a natural famine, but as a man-made genocide, starvation. My family are suffering like the rest of the population. They had to evacuate numerous times. They cannot find the proper food, the proper water, stressful life, psychological distress and impact. people are squeezed in a small area, 2.5 million, million people, because according to experts, they say a quarter of the population in Gaza are either killed, absent, arrested, under the rubble. And you have also tens of thousands of people who are suffering from chronic diseases. They cannot find the medication. Unfortunately, the international community has failed the Palestinians of Gaza. Israel deals with Palestinians as subhumans. Israel demonizes Palestinians and deals with them as collateral damage. Every day, Israel kills between 50 to 100 people, and the world only give lip service. People are exhausted, and they need practical steps on the ground to pressure Israel to end this inhuman treatment, the genocide and starvation.
Thank you, Yousef. Eyad, I want to read a passage from a piece I was looking at online, written by Huda Skeik. She is a writer. She lives in Gaza City, and she does not want to ever leave Gaza City. Just allow me to read this. Huda Skeik. She wrote, "A week ago, I decided to pack 2 bags in case the building where I am staying was hit or if I was forced to move east. I wondered how I could fit everything I wanted to take. In the end, I chose only 2 winter outfits and 2 summer ones. Added my books, notebooks, a photo album, a few accessories, my favourite perfume, my headphones, and my phone charger. This lady has put her entire life in 2 sports bags, ready to go if she has to go, but she does not want to leave Gaza City. I just can't imagine being told with 5 minutes' notice to put my life into 2 sports bags and get out of my home. And that is the reality facing every single Palestinian in Gaza City right now."
Yeah. Your message is very impressive, and I touch multiple and hundreds of these messages day by day from my people here, especially when I went to Gaza City last week. I witnessed from my testimonies when they hit Al-Ghifari towers, they grant the residential there just 3 up maximum for 5 minutes. No one can take any things from his side to evacuate. You just find your life, your children lost between your hand, and you can evacuate immediately without any things. This is the collective punishment that I call and mentioned before. No one can take anything. So this is the slightly plan Israeli occupation need to force people in Gaza City to be expelled under the fire. There is no choice for them to select between the death by famine, death by bombardment, death by evacuation towers. My colleague, you must touch very important thing. The meaning of hitting towers, it's meaning to destroy the life in that region by destroying underground water, solar energy, and the tents around the towers. So in our approximation, more than 1,000 people was there around the Al-Ghifari hospital and in apartments in the tower. When they hit more than 100 people randomly, escape in the street randomly, take their remaining life that they can, and escape under the fire. The shrapnel, the dust around and fall everywhere in the sky. So no one can imagine what we're still facing here in Gaza, even though what still the camera take pictures and photos, but the reality over the ground is more worse than that we can talk about in the media. 700 days from the suffering, and they re-engineering the famine again and again. The cross point from the Kim is closed. The Gaza city is under the tight siege from the 3 sides, the north and the east and the south, and they force people to be expelled to the west area without any basic needs. I talked to my colleague, they work in AIDS distribution in the Baptist Hospital, Ma'madani Hospital. They mentioned they received more than 400 casualties from the bombardments and the explosion in that night, yesterday night. So there is no ability to afford and to meet the casualty needs in the city. We must talk about the remaining people. They haven't any choice to be expelled to the south. They choose to stay in the Gaza City and face the death by multiple types, by famine, by starvation, by bombardment, by drones. It's a death destination, really.
Yeah, thank you. Lara, you're a lawyer. Just spell this out for our viewers. One of the key indicators of a genocide is forcibly displacing people, correct?
Yes, certainly. And that's exactly what we have seen in this current moment. I mean, Israel's genocide, the destruction of life of the Palestinian people, has played out in a number of ways over the past couple of years. And certainly, one key aspect has been the repeated efforts to forcibly displace the Palestinian people. Until now, this has largely remained within the Gaza Strip, but there's also fears of a mass expulsion action that may take many or most Palestinians survivors outside of the Gaza Strip, which would also constitute an international crime. So, I mean, we've been debating and discussing and classifying Israel's actions as international crimes, for years now. In every media appearance that I make, I'm asked to provide that analysis. And there's really no question that what is being done here constitutes a breach of the gravest crimes under international law, whether you're looking at international law or international humanitarian law, the Genocide Convention, Israel's apartheid regime, its illegal occupation, according to the International Court of Justice. The illegalities are essentially endless. What we need now is accountability and an end to the impunity, because the only way that this ordeal will end and that the Palestinian people will see their right to self-determination fulfilled is for an end to Israel's impunity. It has to stop being able to get away with its international crimes, and it must face accountability for the first time in its history.
Thank you, Lara. Shaina, to you, if there is a ceasefire, if this peace plan were to be put together and holds, just spell out for our viewers how much work organisations like yours will have to do helping people, assuming you're allowed in.
First of all, seeing a surge of humanitarian assistance, being able to bring in the materials that we've had sitting in warehouses in Jordan and in Egypt would be very much welcome. The needs are simply tremendous. We have 1.9 million people who have been displaced, most of whom, as guests repeatedly have stressed, have been displaced multiple times. And then, of course, we have all of the other crises that need to be addressed. The fact that Gaza's medical system has collapsed, the fact that there's a famine in Gaza City that the IPC warned was spreading throughout the rest of the rest of Gaza, the fact that we have children who have been out of school for 2 years now and lost all of that education, and not only have lost their education and missed out on schools, but an entire society that is traumatized by 2 years of apocalyptic hell. And so the work that we would have is tremendous, but we are prepared to do it. Our colleagues on the ground are ready and prepared to do it. Each time there are hints that we might be close to a ceasefire, our teams work together to establish the plans and make sure that we are ready to go as soon as we can safely scale up and have access. But the things that we need, regardless of whether or not there's a ceasefire, is access. We need to be able to bring in aid. We need to be able to reach people wherever they are, including Gaza City. And provide people with much needed humanitarian assistance.
Thank you, Shaina. Well put. Yousef, to you, you last visited Gaza on a holiday before the genocide started, and you were wise enough to do a lot of filming of places that you knew from childhood, family memories. You filmed some beautiful material, and you've now made it into a documentary called The Phoenix of Gaza. I understand you've won 20 awards with the documentary so far?
Yes, that's correct. It's the only documentary film that shows Gaza before the genocide. It's a personal story. It's my love letter to my city. What was supposed to be a celebration of life turned into eulogy. Many people who were featured in this remarkable film were either killed, injured, or missing, or abducted. My own sister, my eldest sister Asma, and her 7 beautiful children, murdered and still under the rubble until this moment. Israel systematically destroys Gaza to make it unlivable. It started by targeting the old city in Gaza, the old buildings, the recreational sites, the internal touristic destinations. It destroyed the beautiful Al-Rashid Street. It wants to make Gaza unlivable. It wants to punish the population of Gaza. So this film is being screened worldwide, across the world, especially, of course, Ireland, the UK, elsewhere. And normally I receive some criticism from some Zionists. They say, how come you claim that Gaza was under siege, Gaza is a prison, but yet you show Gaza beautiful? My answer is simple. We have beautified and decorated our prison. It's the world's largest concentration camp, and defied all the restrictions and managed to live and enjoy our life despite being deprived of our liberty, freedom of movement to cross to the outside world. We don't have an airport, we don't have a seaport. 2.5 million people live in a pressure cooker. Israel is worried from the demographic growth. So it destroys Gaza, it wants to exile the population because it does not want to be held responsible for the welfare and provide the needs of the population under its siege. So it deals with Palestinians as subhumans, as collateral damage, and it always says that when it is accused of deliberately targeting civilians and children, they say, well, we drop millions of leaflets urging people to evacuate. We send millions of text messages. Tell me any other army in the world that does that. We do our best to minimize the casualties. It's the propaganda. Every day, civilians are being massacred, killed. It breaks my heart when I see small children, beautiful children, who lose their limbs, and they ask the doctors, please, can you plant new limbs for me? What future is waiting for those lovely children? I think the world will remember this genocide to be the most awful one, because the world leaders could have prevented this genocide to go on for 2 years, but they chose to remain silent and be complicit in this genocide.
Nothing. Thank you, Yousef. Eyad, in recent months, we've seen workers in Italy go on strike in the docks in Genoa because they don't want to handle goods for Israeli cargo ships. We've seen people marching in the UK, in London, all across Ireland, from Dublin to Belfast to Cork, all across Europe. Huge support for the Palestinian people. What's your message to those people and indeed to their leaders?
I have 2 messages. The first, for those free people in the world that is still standing with the right side of the history, and the free people in Gaza, and support our rights and to stop the genocide. We encourage them, and really we appreciated their attendance in our life, and we appreciate it because they make a change in the public opinion, and we touch that. But for the politicians, we need urgent humanitarian interventions without any delay. As my colleague said, we lose our next generations. They are now re-engineering the chaos, re-engineering the famine again and again, especially in the Gaza City and the south. They close all the cross point. There is no any entrance to the Gaza. Our people have no choice. So our messages to all of those people, free people and the politicians, they must to increase the pressure to do interventions to save our life, to save our children's life. There is no time. Really, we have no time to still waiting more than 725 days from the genocide. This is unacceptable, inhuman. As a human being, this is our human message for all of the international community. Thank you.
Eyad, thank you very much. Can I just ask a very personal question? You've spoken to us very eloquently on Roundtable. Every time you come on, we're honoured to have you on. How do you live knowing that at any moment a missile can strike the building you're in? Day to day, every breath could be your last. I don't wish to upset you, but I am in awe of your courage and resilience.
Yeah, look, they forced us to be like this. Yes, we have a resilience until this moment, but we are forced to be like this. Everything is be forced. To live by these circumstances is forced. And searching food for a lot of hours when you search in the black market under the shadow economy, it's also forced to be like this. And as a father, as a person here in Gaza, we really face horrible times. Yesterday, when I still finished my work, they hit it around me in Al-Aqsa Hospital, in the middle governance here, and they cause martyrs and casualties. The shrapnel achieve us and really escape under the fire. This is our life now. It's not normal life. We cannot accept this, but they force us to deal with this until this moment. So we hope something good will happen in the next few days, and the peace will bring, as they promise more than 20 times, to bring peace for Gaza.
Shaina, thank you. My thanks also to Lara Elborno in Paris, Eyad Amawi in Gaza, and Yousef Alhelou here with me in the studio. Remember, you can see more discussion and debate on our YouTube channel. Search for Roundtable TRT World. But for now, from me, Enda Brady, and all the team here, goodbye, and thank you for watching.